Shinran Shonin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu or Shin Buddhism, began his masterwork, the Kyo Gyo Shin Sho, with praises to the primal vow of Amida Buddha, the vow that Amida made when he was Bodhisattva Dharmakara eons ago. And in the first verse, Shinran says, "As I humbly contemplate matters," and I'm going to parse this out, I'm going to break it out. I'll read it and then I'll go back and speak of specific phrases, based largely on the notes within the Ryukoku Translation Series volume of the Kyo Gyo Shin Sho. He starts, "As I humbly contemplate matters," and Shinran was nothing if he was not humble. He demonstrated this in a variety of ways, in the way that he related to people in the lower classes within his society, those who were more impoverished, those who were more limited in their opportunities for practicing the Dharma. And even until the end, at the very end of one of his last pieces of writing, he acknowledges that, his own pride, his own desire for fame was a motivation in his presenting himself as a teacher to others. So, he's a humble guy. And he says, as I humbly contemplate matters, he's humbly contemplating the nature of his own self, the nature of the universe, the nature of his destiny. He says, "I see that the inconceivable universal vow is the great ship which conveys us across the sea which is difficult to cross." That's just, to my mind, a fantastic sentence there, or part of a sentence. And of course, when he's talking about the universal vow, he's referring to the 18th vow that Dharmakaya made when he was a bodhisattva. He made these 48 vows in front of the Buddha, Lokasvara Raja. And part of the larger sutra, the larger Sukhavati or Pure Land Sutra, is Bodhisattva Dharmakaya praising the Buddha, Lokasvara Raja. But in any case, he makes these vows, and the 18th, of course, is the one that speaks of the fact that by simply entrusting in him, we can have assurance that we'll be reborn in his pure land. So this vow that Shinran is referring to is Dharmakaya's 18th vow from the larger Pure Land Sutra. And it's important to note this word inconceivable. Inconceivable, beyond our comprehension. This vow is not something that we can get a handle on with our rational mind, with our thinking mind, with our dualistic way of viewing reality. In that sense, it is, and it can be described perhaps as more mythical or more archetypal, but that doesn't detract from the resonance that it has with our spiritual nature and the entrusting and the belief that we have in its power. But again, the vow is inconceivable. It's beyond our comprehension. And this great ship, of course, is the Mahayana, the great vehicle that is designed to carry all beings to the other shore. It's the great ship which conveys us across the sea, which is difficult to cross, which is the sea of birth and death. And we have been floundering in that sea since the eternal past. Why? Because of our ignorance and evil passions. So this sea of suffering, this sea of dukkha, this sea of unsatisfactoriness. So he goes on to say, "I see that the inconceivable universal vow is the great ship which conveys us across the sea which is difficult to cross, and that the unhindered light is the sun of wisdom, which dissipates the darkness of ignorance." Again, ignorance being the root cause of our suffering. And of course, this light, this unhindered light, that's the light of Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha's name is Amitabha, which is infinite light, and Amitayus, which is infinite life. The infinite light being the wisdom or prajna that is referred to in all the Prajnaparamita Sutras, the Heart Sutra, the Diamond Sutra, the Vimalakirti Sutra, the Prajnaparamita Sutra in 8,000 lines, the Prajnaparamita in 700 lines, all of these variations which talk about the paramita of Prajna, which is the sixth of the six paramitas of the Bodhisattva's path, that Amida is the consummation, the ultimate consummation of this unhindered light, this sun of wisdom, which dissipates the darkness of ignorance, which again is the basis or the cause of our suffering. A couple of verses later, Shinran says, and my focus in this series of Shinran commentaries is really those words that he spoke within the Kyo Gyo Shin Sho. The Kyo Gyo Shin Sho, the actual translation of the title, is a collection of passages revealing the true teaching, practice, and enlightenment of Pure Land Buddhism. And it's largely made up of passages that Shinran pulled together to support and articulate, based on the writings of previous Buddhists, previous masters, the notions that he then wanted to emphasize. So the amount of verbiage that's actually Shinran's within the Kyo Gyo Shin Sho is much more limited, but those are the phrases and sentences and verses that I want to emphasize to the extent that I expand on this series of commentaries. So again, it's in the third verse that he says, the world's hero, who's the world's hero? Of course, Amida Buddha. The world's hero, out of mercy, particularly sought to benefit the men, and of course we would say men and women, who have committed deadly sins, the abusers of the right dharma, and this word is ichantikas. So who are these? These are people who have committed the gravest sins, the gravest of which is the abusers of the right dharma. And the definition of ichantika is one who has evil desire, one who has cut the roots of goodness. So because Amida, out of mercy, particularly sought to benefit people who have committed sins, Shinran says, hence, he says, it is clear to me that the auspicious name of the complete and all-merging supreme virtue is the true wisdom which turns evil into merit. So the auspicious name, of course, is Amida's name, which is the Nembutsu, Namu Amida Butsu. And the all-merging supreme virtue is the perfect harmony of all differences. So that all-merging supreme virtue is the true wisdom, which means the Buddha's wisdom, which means Amida's wisdom, or prajna, which turns evil into merits, meaning that it enlightens deluded beings. Wisdom enlightens deluded beings. And that the adamantine or indestructible serene faith or entrustment, which is difficult to attain. In other words, humans tend to rely on our own power, so it's difficult to attain this faith. But that the adamantine serene faith, which is difficult to attain, is the truth, which removes doubt and enables us to realize enlightenment. So let me just repeat those excerpts from Shinran's own words from within the early verses of the Kyo Gyo Shin Sho. As I humbly contemplate matters, I see that the inconceivable universal vow is the great ship which conveys us across the sea which is difficult to cross, and that the unhindered light is the sun of wisdom which dissipates the darkness of ignorance. And he goes on to say, the world's hero, out of mercy, particularly sought to benefit the men who have committed deadly sins, the abusers of the right dharma, and the ichantikas. And then he says, hence, it is clear to me that the auspicious name of the complete and all-merging supreme virtue is the true wisdom, which turns evil into merit, and that the adamantine serene faith, which is difficult to attain, is the truth which removes doubt and enables us to realize enlightenment.